We got a great one coming up here in the quarterfinal round of the Pac-12 Women's Basketball Tournament. Oregon and Stanford, and Dee Rogers went off yesterday against Washington. 28 points, the most by a Duck in a tournament game since Sabrina Ionescu dropped 31 against Arizona in the 2020 semifinals. Speaking of the Ducks, look who's joining us on set. He's only been sitting here for like 15 minutes waiting for his moment. Very patient in the spotlight. Great job. Oh yeah, and then gets very camera shy. Oregon, happy to still be here. Kelly Graves, that interview post-game with Alyssa Charleston yesterday, there was a lot of joy. You felt like there was a little bit of relief that they were able to get by the Huskies. And Dee Rogers, in particular, really special.
Well, and I do think, as good as India was, that relief is a real thing. And I think for Oregon, there was a lot of pressure on them to start this season. They were picked number 2 in the Pac-12 conference, and they suffered some really tight losses. They kind of derailed them for a while. Te-Hina Paopao went into a shooting slump, but they're back. The last 3 games, they've been shooting it way better. Te-Hina Paopao had 3 straight games over 20 points, and then she busted out for 13 here yesterday to start the Pac-12 tournament. You combine that with the consistency of what India Rogers has done, including the 28, and the way she can slice into the lane is really impressive, and it changes the defense.
Yeah, when India Rogers is orchestrating her offense, Oregon is at their best. And she was able to do that yesterday with 28 points and 11 rebounds as well. In the first matchup against Stanford, she only had 6 points on 3 of 14 shooting. Stanford made it really difficult for her. She wasn't going to get a lot of three-point opportunities, and she wasn't going to be able to get to the rim with Brink. So what is her mid-range game, her floater, her pull-up jumpers? We're going to need to see a lot of that today.
And don't take it at Brink. 10 blocks against the Ducks in the first matchup. Find other spots.
Unbelievable in that one matchup that they had that Stanford won on the farm earlier this season. But Te-Hina Paopao and the Ducks are ready to roll, and she has been on a roll as of late. Alyssa Charleston standing by with her head coach.
It's time for our Zayo Connection. I'm here with head coach Kelly Graves. Coach, you were much happier after the final buzzer yesterday when your team came back and won. How'd you guys do it?
We played with a lot of heart, a lot of toughness, a lot of grit. I was happy for about a half hour until I realized we got to play Stanford today, so that'll bring you down real fast. But I was really proud of how our team finished the game yesterday, and it was a great performance.
Well, yes, you talked about it. You got to play Stanford today. You guys have only matched up once so far. What did you learn from that first matchup that you're putting in practice now?
We actually played them relatively tough down at their place. I thought defensively we were on point, held them to 62 on their home floor. And then did something that I've never coached before. It was a first. We were 20 of 80 from the field. Thinking back, if we were 24 of 80 that night, we would have won the game. But we just got to shoot better. We've got to continue to defend. And then, with Stanford, they have so much size. You just got to battle on the board. So that's going to be the key tonight.
Good luck, Coach. You got this.
All right.
Thanks.
The 2-time and reigning Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, Cameron Brink, had a historic triple-double against Oregon in their only regular season meeting. She's set for the postseason setup, and Jordan is standing by with her head coach.
It's time for our Zayo Connection. I'm here with Coach Tara Vanderveer. Coach, you've tweaked your lineup quite a bit this season, but I think that talks to your incredible depth that you have. What's been working?
We just go with who's hot and who's playing well, and we look at practice and maybe different matchups, and we kind of have a small starting lineup and a big starting lineup, and then we just, sub. We want to play tag team. I think a lot of people are playing well coming off the bench. Brooke Dimitri's doing great. India Navarro's playing great, and Lauren Betts is playing great. So we've got a different starting lineup and some great players coming off the bench.
You've only matched up against Oregon once this year so far. What have you been preparing for in practice and shoot around to get ready?
Well, we've really focused on Stanford, what we want to be doing, how we want to play, running the floor, going inside, knocking down perimeter shots. And obviously you've got to play great defense against Oregon, but we didn't know until yesterday who we were going to play, so we focused on what we could control. We worked on Stanford stuff.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck today.
Thank you.
53-6 in this tournament. The only team she doesn't have a winning record against is Oregon. So let's get to it. Cut to the chase. Who are you guys picking in this matchup?
I got Stanford. They are the team to beat. They've won it 15 times. Everybody in the Pac-12 has given them their best shot. They're still the regular season champs, and I feel like people are looking at their weaknesses more than their strengths, and their strengths are many
said, they're focused on Stanford, and Stanford is one of those teams that they're really good coming off a loss. I expect them to play really well coming out of that loss against Utah.
Yeah, and some people around Stanford think maybe that loss to Utah was one of the best things that could have happened to them. We will find out shortly. It's going to be a good one. We know that. And Tammy, how's the college?
We're marching through quarterfinal action at the Pac-12 Women's Basketball Tournament in Las Vegas, presented by New York Life. On tap, top-seeded Stanford taking on 9th-seeded Oregon right here at Michelob Ultra Arena. A quick peek at our New York Life brackets earlier today. UCLA advancing to the semis with the victory over Arizona. Tonight's session, Washington State against Utah. Oregon State taking on Colorado. Good afternoon, everybody. And shots joined by my broadcast partner. That's my good friend, Tammy Blackburn. We had an exciting quarterfinal game just moments ago. This one sets up to be perhaps even more special.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, we were expecting this from Pac-12 women's basketball coming into Las Vegas. Last time these two teams met, Cameron Brink of Stanford, well, she actually went off with a triple-double. Oregon knows what they're getting themselves into. The Cardinal actually averaged 77 points a game, and Oregon's going to have to find a way to score, and I know just the trick for them.
All right, let's talk about the Oregon Ducks. A victory over Washington yesterday in first-round action. India Rogers carried the freight.
Well, here is a player that can give you the points that you need, and how about 28 points and 11 rebounds? India Rogers saying, I'm going to go ahead and put this team on my shoulders. They need me. I mean, what a close matchup it was. A 52-50 victory. The Ducks over Washington, and we had ourselves a good one.
You mentioned Cameron Brink, Defensive Player of the Year. Thank you very much. Presented by Next Steven.
You bet. I mean, how about Cameron Brink and what she's accomplished in her career at Stanford? She scored in double figures in 22 of the last 23 games. She is the program's career leader in block shots with 288 coming in. She's aiming to get more. This is a hungry team after sharing a little piece of that Pac-12 championship.
Teams huddling for the last time. 9th-seeded Oregon looking to right the ship against Stanford after losing to them earlier in the season, as Tammy mentioned. So it'll be Taya Hansen starting again. Grace Van Sluten will go, but she'll come off the bench. A guard-heavy lineup for Kelly Graves, with Che obviously mining the inside. Stanford, the #1 seed. Just so much talent, front court, back court. Tammy Blackburn, obviously Haley Jones and Cameron Brink, but if Jump can get things going from beyond the arc, boy, I'll tell you, it's a load to carry defensively.
Well, it's a load. Jump is going to give you about 11.5 points per game, but it's her three-point shooting that will stretch the defense out. Let's see if Hannah Jump can get started quickly.
These teams met in late January, you mentioned it. Triple-double for Cameron Brink, 16 and 11 in terms of points and rebounds, and then the 10 blocks. There's Brink going up and scoring.
Brink early. Stanford Cardinal go to her. I just mentioned the Cardinal are hungry after sharing a little piece the Pac-12 regular season championship with University of Utah, coached by the Pac-12 Coach of the Year, Lynn Roberts.
Stanford, the defending Pac-12 champions. And Che travels. Oregon, of course, coached by Kelly Graves in his 9th year. The 2 Pac-12 tournament titles, 2018, 2020, both of those games against Stanford. Great job by Lapolo to flag down her own miss. Emma Nopu now getting it inside to Brink. And Brink falls very, very hard as Che picks up the foul, her first, team's first. Tara Vanderveer in her 37th season as the Stanford head coach. Look at all those career wins. Winningest. And counting. We're going to make sure we've got the foul on the right player. We'll get back to you in a second. Hansen is tagged for that foul, not Che. Officials changed it a couple of times. They finally decided on Hansen. So 4-0, quick Stanford lead. As dynamic as Rogers was in that game yesterday, Tammy, she's going to need some scoring help from somebody besides Tahina Paopao.
You've got to get some scoring by the starter who's filling in for Grace Van Slooten and Hansen. Maybe get a shot from her, Chance Gray.
On the shot clock, here's Brink, and now flips it right back to Jones. Wheeling and dealing, going up against Paopao. Shea with the board, and here comes Oregon.
Defensive stop ball falls into the hands of Che, and we want to try to get in early. And Che, they're doing a lot of, Oregon's going to run a lot of on-ball screens here. And you'll see players like Paopao and Rogers try to use that to get some continuity and to free themselves up for some shots.
Great job by Che. She knew she couldn't grab the ball outright, but just flips it out to a guard. Oregon will reload, looking to get on the board. Off the pick. Rogers back, rimming off. Again, Shea keeps the ball alive, but Brink comes up with it, and here comes Stanford. Three-pointer, not there. And a jump with the offensive rebound, knocked out of bounds, but Stanford will retain possession. And Grace Van Slooten, coming off of that ankle injury and coming off the pine yesterday, will join the fray.
She'll come in for Che, and here's where you can get some of that point production. Prior to this tournament, she did not play in the last 3 regular season games. Prior to that, she was 8 of 18, 24 points combined at UCLA and at Washington State.
Jump got fouled by Rogers. Hannah Jump took the hit. She'll go to the line, and she'll shoot 3.
Got to be so mindful on three-point shooters, especially as somebody as accurate or as efficient from the three-point line as Hannah Jump. You know that when she touches the ball, she's likely going to be pulling the trigger as we take a look at our net rankings.
Boy, a lot of Pac-12 teams in that top 50. And that's huge, with Selection Show Sunday coming up right around the corner.
Washington State up 1 from 39. They jump up to 38. SC at 32. So the other ones, Oregon was at 18 yesterday. They're at 19, holding a pretty firm net ranking.
Great job by Jump, getting the job done at the free throw line. 7-0 quick Stanford lead. Rogers hesitates. Wild pass. Jump wants to lead the fray, and here comes Haley Jones.
Nice pass.
Great pass inside. Brink can't finish. Can't finish again. Wow. And Oregon wanted an over-the-back foul against Emma Nopu.
Stanford's offense at 77 points a game. Let's take a look at their Pac-12 rankings this season. A scoring margin of just about 19. Rebounding margin, how about that? Almost plus 14 there, 46% field goal. And they get their shots from a lot of different spaces, not only in the paint, but from outside ahead of Jump as well.
Extra pass into Van Slooten. Brink out of position. So 7-2, Ducks on the board.
And Van Slooten is that player that can give you those double figures. Such a wonderful freshman year for Grace.
All freshman team blocking side. Van Slooten. Jones sticks with it.
Heck of an effort there.
Jones averages nearly 14 points a pop. Brink nearly 15 points a pop. And a lot of help from their pals. Here's Van Slooten. Oh, unfortunate for Rogers and a turnover for the Ducks.
Her heel touched the sideline here. Let's go back to that bucket as you see the roll to the basket. Paopao with a shovel pass as Van Slooten quickly makes work of diving to the basket to make herself available. And then look at this cut as they get lost. I'm not sure if that was from the flex offense, but Haley Jones gets herself on the block there, receives the pass. Good second effort.
9-2 Stanford run.
Hansen a little too
fouls.
handsy. Yeah. Tries to get a little piece of that. Thought that she did.
Picks up her second, does Hansen. And it'll be Elise Hurst who checks in for Taya, the transfer out of Arizona State. More free throws for Stanford. You know, in that earlier game, regular season, between Stanford and Oregon, Cardinal winning at 62-54. Oregon was 20 for 80 in terms of field goals. Think about that now. 20 for 80. Kelly Graves said he has never seen anything like it as a coach, regardless of level.
Yeah, he said, you know, we were prepared. We coached these players to do everything. The scout was right. Thought they played well defensively. He goes, but what we didn't plan for was 20 for 80. And no coach does. The fact that they got up 80 shots.
Rogers puts on the brakes. Can't get the kind roll. Brink comes up with the carom, and here comes Stanford looking to increase the lead. They're up 11-2. Second quarterfinal game of the day in a busy Pac-12 women's basketball tournament from Michelob Ultra Arena. Boy, everybody going for those loose balls. Those are hustle plays. We'll get it all figured out when we get back. Stanford rolling. Quarterfinal action in the Pac-12 women's tournament. Top-seeded Stanford leading Oregon, the 9th seed, 11-2. Cold shooting for both clubs, but Stanford with a 9-point edge. And while we're still in the middle of a timeout, perfect timing to bring in Alyssa Charleston.
Yeah, well, Ann, I wanted to talk about Haley Jones because a lot of Pac-12 players are signing really cool name, image, and likeness deals, right, where you can make money off of that. Well, Haley Jones is one of the most famous athletes in the country. It would be easy for her to do some quick grab cash deals, but she said that's exactly what she wants to steer away from. She's treating this like a professional and wanting to do things that align with her values. Nike was signing her. She's one of 5 Nike athletes. She also works with Beats by Dre, but one of the coolest ones is where she gets to be creative. She's the first college athlete to host a podcast of her own with Players Tribune. It's called Sometimes I Hoop, where she talks to other women's basketball stars like Aaliyah Boston or Caitlin Clark. They really break things down, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. I kind of wish I would have been able to have that when I played college basketball, listening to Candace Parker or Brianna Stewart. Pretty cool, you guys.
That's great, and that podcast is really, really fun. Well done. Thanks, Alyssa, for bringing light to that. And good on you, Haley. Pow. Boy, did Oregon need that.
9-point difference, and that 3 gives this Oregon Duck team the confidence they need coming out of that break, because things could run away from them pretty early. You don't want it to, and Pow's the one to give it to them.
Ball belongs to the Oregon Ducks. India Navarre checking in for the Stanford Cardinals. Haley Jones, one of 3 members of the all Pac-12 team for Stanford. Brink, Jones, Jump. And of course you got India Rogers for the Oregon Ducks. There she is, NBA triple, rimming out. Hosendove on the floor for Oregon, making her presence felt with the offensive board. Pow, directing traffic. There's Ben Sluten on the roll. Goes right up against Haley Jones. She'll draw the foul.
Well, I think Hosendove can be a real key to this team. When she checks in off the bench, she can give them extra possessions with her offensive rebound. This is a result of one of those. Ball goes out to Rogers, and then it goes right into Ben Sluten, who can then do some work at the block, and she attacks Haley Jones. I thought Kelly Graves was spot on yesterday. Hosendove gave good minutes. It was the rebound numbers that really made the difference in what was a tight game with this Oregon team. A 52-50 victory over the Huskies.
So 11-7. Oregon hanging around. Ariafen just checking in for the Stanford Cardinal. Wanted that ball. Foul's going to go against the Oregon Ducks, so another whistle blowing. Ben Sluten, by the way, picked up that foul, her first. And we'll go the other way. Offensive foul against Navarre. So Oregon Tammy, despite some cold shooting early, sticking around. Pow can't get it down. The Polo, who's been so dynamic as a freshman starting point guard. Jones catches up after throwing a shoe. Jones looking for the kind roll. Ball stays with Stanford. Brooke Dimitri into the Stanford lineup. 11-7, 3:08 left to go in this quarterfinal matchup. Fourth time these two clubs have met in tournament play. 2 apiece. Stanford won for their last 11.
Good defense there by the Ducks, really backing Erie Offen. Stanford really wanted to get it into Erie Offen, and they just played that solid, clean defense without fouling. But then they go down and they miss it on a shot, an early shot in the shot clock. Speaking of early shots, there's Jump, and she calls it off the glass.
6 points now for Jump.
She'll continue to climb the career three-pointer charts made for Stanford. She's got 277 with her 2 now. Scratch that. She's got 1, and then the other one was a 2-point shot. So she's at 276 on this one from downtown.
Banking it in as Rogers checks in. Pow sits down. Pow has been so huge for the Oregon Ducks the last 3 games. Last 4 games, actually. The resurgence of the Ducks as they erase the bad memory of that 7-game skid, a lot because of how Pow has complimented Rogers. Hosendub misses an and 1. She will go to the line. Erie Offen picks up that foul, and Hosendub to the line.
Hosendub right there on that inside to get that offensive board. And she's making a heck of an effort. She's got 3 boards already in just 3 minutes of play, does Hosendub. The fact that she can get those extra possessions, we talked about that, so crucial. You're going to need those. Step up and make your breaks, and she gets the first one.
Hosendub, the transfer out of Georgia State. A couple of years there, before that Clemson. Lauren Betts checking into the Stanford lineup. And Kennedy Basham for the Oregon Ducks, both freshmen.
Lauren Betts, freshman honorable mention, really playing well down the stretch for Stanford in that regular season. I think the growth and development of Lauren Betts' game has just been really rewarding for a lot of us on the outside watching her work. As Tara Vandergeer told me early on in the season, it's just not that easy to make that transition for a big player and a post player her size at this speed and the way that we play, and she's just invested.
All the way to the rim.
There you go.
Is Jones. She can't score, but there's Betts, who gets fouled on the follow. She'll go to the line.
She wins the foot game right there, and just turning around after Jones gets to the rim. You see Basham try to reach, nothing there, but look at Betts and the footwork. You gotta win the foot game, right? If you're a big, and it's all just about that positioning, turning your body when that shot goes up, and her hands, she grabs that ball.
Basham with her first foul, 15th foul on the Oregon Ducks. The Betts, the freshman out of Colorado, 5-star kid, McDonald and Jordan All-American.
Gosh, I really enjoyed watching her play at Colorado in that overtime game. Well, she was back home and celebrated, right? I mean, so nice to see that.
16-9, Rogers, who has yet to score in this game, leading scorer for the Ducks, has carried the load offensively, yet to score. 16-9, Stanford. Hosendub goes strong. Betts gets a piece of that.
Changing the shot anytime you approach, and you're looking at 6-7 there with Betts in front of you, and all she's got to do is reach up and tip. Changing shots, blocking shots.
But 25 left to go in the first quarter. Stanford has led from the beginning. Here's Betts. Dimitri. Not there for the 3-pointer. Wow, Oregon thought that should belong to their duck club. Instead, it'll be Stanford's ball underneath. Pow back in.
Pow coming into this tournament after earning Player of the Week for a very strong finish. Came into this tournament averaging over 20 points a game in the last 3. Very hot, well-earned award for Player of the Week.
Rogers, she thought that was in. I did too. Basket didn't want it. Under a minute to go.
Or transition for Stanford, and this is where they are at their best. Blocked by Basham.
Basham continues to impress in the month of February. But Oregon can't cash in with the long ball.
Some transition early shots from the corner, not falling for the Ducks. But you like the defense at that end as Stanford in transition, and Basham going to get called for the foul on the back of Betts, who again gets down the floor and winning that foot game. Watch her position here, Haley Jones. That's Basham for the Ducks with the block. Jones making the pass, and Basham in good position there as she checks out.
Che and Lopolo checking in for their respective teams, and Fran Belibi joining the Stanford bunch. Betts to the line. February was really her coming out month for Lauren. 5 double-figure games in the month of February. And coming into this tournament, just in the month alone of February, TB, she averaged at Lauren 10 points a game and 4 boards over the course of 7 games.
Yeah, her last 3 coming in. I mean, she had 12 at UCLA. At Colorado, she had 14. She was 4 of 5 from the free throw line. Minutes really increased at Colorado. I know it was a double overtime game. She played 29 minutes in that one.
Belibi, consecutive offensive rebounds, adjusts the eyewear, and not much of a difference between shot and game clock. Jones, Belibi, ball fake. Low-scoring first quarter here in quarterfinal action of the Pac-12 women's. We're in Las Vegas for the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament presented by New York Life. Michelob Ultra Arena after 1. Top-seeded Stanford leading 9th-seeded Oregon. You know, it's interesting, TB. Stanford, the number 1 seed, but because they lost at Utah to end the regular season, seems like forever ago, but just a few days ago, they share the conference title with Utah, 2 great teams.
Yes.
You know, they're the teams that met in the finals last year at this tournament, Stanford winning. You know, Tara always says we don't like to share. That's got to change in this tournament.
Well, I do love what she said before. She says, I'm rooting for Utah when I'm not playing against them, and that was just a great game. I mean, the final score, 84-78, Utah over Stanford. The player of the year, Alyssa Feely with 14 points. Gianna Neepkins, 28 points. And it was that second quarter where Utah scored Stanford 25-17. Otherwise, they kept things pretty close. What a game that was. 10,000 in the Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City coming out to support the Utes.
Lynn Roberts, our Pac-12 Coach of the Year. Healy, you mentioned it. Player of the Year. You know, Stanford fans kind of cranky about that. They were hoping Cameron Brooks would not only get Defensive Player of the Year, but Player of the Year.
Certainly was very, very close. One of the most difficult voting decisions to make. And, you know, what an honor to have that privilege, to have it be so close and so difficult.
Jones with the air ball. Belibi, who starts the second quarter, can't get it down. Brink with the offensive rebound. Jones would like another crack at it. Still can't score. Brink does.
Well, you've got one of 3 players for Stanford, all Pac-12 honorees on the floor. Brink, Jones, and Jump. And Brink gets it done for an 11-point lead.
8 points now for Brink. Again, she averages nearly 15 a pop. Leads this club in scoring. And all those blocks, Tammy Blackburn. She keeps breaking her own records for single season projections.
Yeah, and program career leaders.
Yeah.
288 coming into this game.
Kick from Che. Play whistle dead. LaPola with the foul.
Yeah, Brink, who just such a lengthy player, who's so good away from the basket. Here's the bucket there. She just gets into position, understanding that Jones going to get that unfortunate bounce off the rim.
And finally, it's the freshman, Chance Gray, who struggled in that game against Washington yesterday. Gets the triple, that's big.
Top 10 in program history is Chance Gray with 50 three-pointers coming into this tournament.
Gray, all freshman. Pac-12 play as far as the voting is concerned. LaPola answers with her own triple. Nice answer from LaPola.
What an asset LaPola has been to this Stanford program, the facilitator, sharing the ball, the assist numbers, having to play a lot of minutes.
Van Sluten, she's fouled by Believy.
Chance Gray was 0 for 2 yesterday versus the Washington Huskies. Coming into the tournament, she needs 2 more threes to take 6th place and tie Maite Cazorla, and she got one, but at the other end, LaPola does a little 3-ball piece of her own.
Oregon knows that their guards have to be on at the same time, same night, and that's Rogers, Pau, and Gray. And if they can get something from, Van Sluten and a Hansen and maybe a Jay, that they've got action. But right now, Rogers is scoreless.
And Rogers had 28 points yesterday. Pau 13, Gray 1 point. But it's that combination that you talked about. And shots, had a jump, heated up early, and she's still hot.
9 points now for jump. She's got a couple of triples. Rogers. Watch that pick from Van Sluten. Wheels around Believy, and finally in the scoring column. Nice teardrop.
Well, that was a great move by Rogers because Believy just had to get off and try to cover for the initial defender, and then Rogers kept going around and then had Believy beat with the floater.
Brink takes on Che and scores.
Step off the bounce, down the lane. How many times have we seen Brink take it from the outside and use one bounce with her length? She takes the bounce somewhere, and she can't finish through the rim.
Brink already in double figures. It just seems like every night she gives you double figures. 28-15 Stanford with the lead. Pau looking for a cutter. Keeps the dribble alive. 5 on the shot clock now for Rogers. Jay. That's great half-court defense by Stanford.
Rogers making that move. This is what I was talking about. Believy tries to come out and hedge, but she's late there. She just tries to send Rogers back, and then Rogers goes somewhere with her dribble. Speaking of going somewhere, look at Brink.
Man, double figures now in 23 of her last 24 games. That's Cameron Brink. The consistency is absolutely amazing.
25 versus UCLA when they hosted them on that Monday night tilt. In 30 minutes of play, went 5 of 12, and she was 15 of 15 from the free throw line.
Foul's going to go against Believy. Now she's got 2 on the illegal pick. 13 foul. Dimitri back on the floor for Believy. 28-15. It has been a struggle for the Oregon Ducks, shooting but 22% from the floor at the moment. This is a team that's been rolling the last 3 games. Van Sluten quickly to the deck. She picks up the foul, and Grace nursing 2 bad ankles is aggressive to the cup. She'll be rewarded with a couple of tosses.
Oregon just trying to get something done. The reverse spin move there as Van Sluten tries to split the defense. I sure do like the move by the freshman. Very agile.
Brink with the foul, her first. Van Sluten, another member of the all-freshman team.
What a season it has been for Van Sluten. Logged a lot of minutes as a freshman and delivered until she got injured.
banged up both of her ankles. Let's keep her healthy. She's going to be a lot of fun to watch in years to come. Brink, top ankles, and squeezes it in. She's got 12. I have to go up against 6'8" Che there, presence right in the face, and then she just didn't have a whole lot of space, but she knew she could get that ball at the rim. It had a chance, and she does. Rogers hesitates, can't get the roll. Ball belongs to Stanford. Cameron Brink with another double-figure game. She's nearing another double-double. Check out this tape. Man, this is just tough. Our performance update brought to you by Tax Act. Cameron Brink nearing another double-double.
12 points, 6 rebounds. Cameron Brink came into this game today 35th all-time in Stanford career scoring. And just like that, in 15 minutes of basketball, she jumps up 2 spots, now sits alone at 33rd all-time, passing Lily Thompson and Brittany McPhee, 1,153 total points. But look at the blocks there. We can continue to talk about her blocks, coming in with 288 in today's game. This year, 3.5. Second is Division I. That national scale stat, so impressive.
Brink on the floor for more minutes as she avoids foul trouble and is just smarter about using those minutes and avoiding foul trouble, so she's on the floor helping the cause.
Really something that she has emphasized and worked hard on.
Alyssa Charleston, you know, you, Tammy, and I have been eyeballing the rebounds decidedly in Stanford's favor. What do you got?
Yeah, well, no surprise. Stanford has high standards. That's all they're preaching in the huddle. Keep rebounding, get after the O boards, because they've got a huge advantage. 15 O boards to Oregon's 6 right now. Just hammering down on it.
You know it, and Stanford averages, I don't know, about 14 offensive rebounds a game. That's pretty good as Rogers rims it out. They're already past that, and we're still with 4:13 left to go in the second quarter. It's World Wrestling with Rosendale and Brink, and Cameron is holding her right hip. Play right now stopped.
That Brink went down, and what a great effort here. Hard fall. Tussle for the ball, and I'll tell you who liked that effort, though, by Brink was Kate Pay. The associate head coach got up and gave her a pat. He said, keep it up. This is the way we need to play.
More whistles in this game. Van Sluten picks up her second. First team foul.
How about this for a difference? Oregon 0 of their last 4. Stanford 5 of their last 5, making 6 of their last 6. And Hannah Jump with yet another bucket. She's got 11.
18th double-figure game of the season for Jump. She's got the 4 20-point games. Eye off the glass is Pow. She fell hard. She'll go to the line, but that one smarted.
And the story for Oregon this year, and they were on that 7-game losing skid. And when you were to listen to Kelly Graves and talk in his post-game pressers, he talked about, I thought we did everything we could. This was a winnable game. We did things well defensively. There is no quit in this team, but they have had trouble scoring, and Stanford is keeping them below 20 points with about over 16 minutes into this game, and that has been a theme for this Duck squad.
Now you got to remember how critical this game is for the Oregon Ducks in terms of their at-large bid. The committee is watching. You can get all kinds of opinions in terms of they're already in on the Ducks because of their high net ranking at 19. Some people think, nah, you got to play really well against Stanford. You got to maybe beat them or play really well to be in. We shall see. Right now, it's a slow start for the Oregon Ducks. This game is critical for Oregon. Navarre looking for Benz inside. She's going to get it right back as Navarre. All the way to the rim. Can't finish. Ball will go to the Oregon Ducks. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll send you to the desk for the principal halftime report. Ashley, Elise, Angela, they're on site. And they'll bring you the goods. 3:10 left to go in the second quarter. Gray's going to look for Basham. Back rim and off into the hands of Betts, and here comes Navarre. Neither team shooting the ball well, but it's been all Stanford. Rimming out is Dimitri. Good block out by Basham. Wanting to push is the rookie Gray.
Oregon maybe runs here 17% from the field. 4 of 23. 0 of their last 5. Make that 6. No field goals for the Ducks in the last, well, over 4 minutes now.
They've had some droughts in the first quarter and now in the second. Betts right back to Navarre. Not there. Here comes Rogers.
She's going to the rim.
Great follow. That's in stereo. Hosen down.
We know a great follow when we see one and shots.
Boy, in tandem, we had that one down.
I do love the minutes of Hosen Dove.
Oregon sticking around these last 2 minutes, important for both clubs. Betts wants it high-low. She's going to get it now on that low block. Guarded by Basham and one. Lauren Betts is going to go to the line. And Basham picks up her third.
Hosen Dove's giving you about 12 minutes a game coming into this one, and she's been on the floor for, well, about 75% of that. And nice follow through, but at the other end, Lauren Betts at 6'7", ran the floor, got the put back, and she's going to the line for a trip.
3-point play for Betts as Basham will sit down with 3 fouls. Van Sluten back on the floor. Betts will have a seat. Prechtel onto the floor for Stanford. Lopolo rejoining the fray. Rogers, Pow 2 for 16. And they make this Oregon Duck Club go, and an offensive foul against the Ducks.
Van Sluten picks up that. That's an illegal screen as she was trying to free up Chance Gray. Chance Gray had a good look, but the illegal screen is probably why she was wide open, and Van Sluten to the bench.
Now Van Sluten with the 3 fouls. Shea back onto the court.
So unfortunate when you just need the point production, and Van Sluten can give that to you.
Lopolo rimming out the 3. Hosendorf scoops up the board. She's going to find Pow. Oregon on the run. Rogers floater just can't get some rolls. Hosendorf blocked inside. Tag team. Lopolo wants to push. Jones, footwork, scores. The lead is 16 for Stanford. Biggest lead of the game for the Cardinal. Quiet first half for the Oregon Ducks. Gray all the way to the rim. Blocked inside. Oh, what a swat by Jones. More whistles in this game will stop play.
Rogers reaches as she knew that Lopolo was going. Let's go back to the block by Jones. Chance Gray tries to scoop it up on the reverse, and boy, Jones holds her own position, leaves her feet a little bit, but gets all ball. And 6 points for Haley Jones, but 19 quality minutes, and she's grabbed 6 boards, 2 of 2. Nice line by Haley Jones in this first half.
Iriafen returns to the court for Stanford. 9-second, 10-second differential between shot and game clock. Stanford with the ball, 13 on the shot clock on this possession. Jones going up against Hosendove. Jay with the rebound. In Oregon will walk it up and look for the last shot of the half. Ducks trailing 37-21. Off the pick, Pow will pull the trigger. Big triple for Tahina. And maybe that will breathe some life into the Ducks. Pow saying, let's go, let's go. Big triple to end the half for Pow Pow and the Ducks?
Well, she had to create that one. That was a big sidestep for her. And Pow Pow coming in hot to the tournament. They need to get a little bit more out of her. They need a whole lot more out of Rogers. Check out Pow Pow as she drains this one from downtown, just like you said, to give the Ducks a little bit of life and confidence.
Alyssa Charleston standing by with Tara Vanderveer. Alyssa?
Yeah, that's our Zayo connection. Coach, offensive rebounds really fueled your offense early. Any adjustments you want to make for second half?
You know, I think we just need to keep doing what we're doing. Get the ball, push it. I thought Solana's played really well, hit a nice shot for us. Brooke came in, a lot of different people contributing. I feel like they're fresh, and we'll play a great second half.
Defensively, really good position inside, making it really tough for Oregon. How do you keep that going?
Well, Oregon's a great offensive team, and, you know, especially Pow Pow and Rogers. We've got to really stay out on them. I didn't like that last shot at the end. But, you know, we just need to really keep running the ball, get out in transition, and have everyone contribute. I thought a lot of different people helped us.
All right, Coach. Good luck. Thanks. Back to you guys.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much. We're getting set for the halftime report here courtside at Michelob Ultra Arena. Angela Taylor, Elise Woodward, Ashley Adamson with you. And coming up, we're going to talk about what we saw in the first half. Plus, we're going to break down the night session. We got two more great matchups coming your way here on the quarterfinal round of the Pac-12 Women's Basketball Tournament. 7-24, the Cardinal lead it. Cameron Brink doing work. She's got 12.6 rebounds. But really, the story is Oregon. It feels like they cannot buy a bucket right now.
And it felt that way in the first matchup as well, where they shot just 25%. And they're not going to win this game if India Rogers goes 1 for 13 in the second half. And right now, she just cannot find her rhythm. She had 28 points yesterday, and today she just can't get it going. And credit Stanford's defense, their length, the shot blocking ability, the way they clog the lanes. This is what Stanford does.
Definitely credit Stanford. Tara always talks about defense and rebounding are the keys to championships. And I will amend that to defense, rebounding, and Cameron Brink. Stanford is holding Oregon to 20% from the floor, 33% from the three-point line. And you're right, their defensive coverage on the pick and roll for Oregon is really interesting. They're in drop coverage. The guards are coming off that, but they know they don't want to attack the paint because Cameron Brink is waiting for them, and they just cannot get any shots to fall.
Brink had a triple-double the last time these two teams played, which was a Stanford win. What have you noticed about her in the first half?
You know, Cameron Brink, I think maybe the voting for Player of the Year got to her. Cameron Brink came out from the jump and has been aggressive and active on both ends of the floor. Offensively, she's looking for her perimeter jumper. She has a beautiful touch from the high post, and then she's attacking the glass. Stanford has 15 offensive rebounds. Cameron Brink and Fran Bolibi have been doing a great job on the offensive boards.
Well, and Cameron Brink's also holding her own offensively. It's not just about the defense. She's 5 of 7 from the floor. The team's only made 12 total, so 7 other field goals. You know, Cameron's got 5 of the 12. That's a lot.
Yeah, no, that point's hard to come by, and I think Oregon, they average 16 assists per game. They got 3 assists right now. Stanford looking to get back to the semifinals here at the Pac-12 tournament. Right now they got a 13-point lead over Oregon. Our TaxAct performance update goes to Hannah Jump, the all-Pac-12 player. She's got 11 points, 3 rebounds, and a steal. We'll see what she can finish off.
Quarterfinal action continues from Las Vegas. Top-seeded Stanford leading 9th-seeded Oregon 37-24 here at Michelob Ultra Arena. Alyssa Charleston standing by with Oregon head coach Kelly Graves.
Coach, 15 offensive rebounds by Stanford. Other than boxing out, what else can you guys do to keep them off of it?
Yeah, there were a lot of issues we had. That was the first place to start. Yeah, you can't give them that many second chance points and hope to have a chance. But we're suddenly not going to grow. We are who we are, and so we've got to just do a better job of, you know, keeping up on them and rebound with pride. Offensively, you know, we're getting pretty good looks. You know, we are not a team that's going to score a ton inside, so we have to rely on, you know, making jump shots, making threes. I think we had some pretty good looks. They're just not going. But credit Stanford, those arms are longer. You feel like you got to get it off in a hurry. You know, we got to take a deep breath, relax, play with some pride here and compete. And I think we can get back in this game.
All right, Coach, good luck.
Thanks to you both, and our scoring leaders brought to you by MGM Rewards. Let's take a look.
Well, Pow Pow has 8, Van Sluten with 7, Hosenduff 4, Gray 3, Brink double digits, Jump following along with 11, Jones Betts at 6 and 5 apiece.
4 players for the Oregon Ducks who average about 53 a game, and they're combined right now for 20 points. I entirely agree with Kelly Graves. It's those outside shooters. They are getting the looks that they want, but, you know, certainly the length will make you think twice. You do have to think that you get it out in a hurry, and I think Tara Vanderbilt told Alyssa Charleston something really to remember, and that is 11-point lead. A 3-ball game can change that quickly, and you got to get out on Pow Pow and Rogers. You can't leave them alone. So third quarter underway, right out of the chutes. It's Stanford with the triple. Emma Nopu.
She played 5 minutes in the first half. Other players coming in off the bench. What a great start. Good shot early for Emma Nopu.
You scout this Oregon club, and you know they don't butter the bread on the inside. They have got to hit the threes to get some separation and real estate room with that defense. Spread that defense out. It hasn't been working at this point, and when I say that, you see Che getting right at the cup.
Yeah, that's her first points of the game. She's got 2. That's her second shot of this game.
Good start for the Ducks in terms of Che, and then the pick. Gray teeing up the 3. Pow with the rebound. Che's going to try it again. That's a good look for Chance.
2 good looks.
Yeah.
Stop and pop, and then a second one, catch and shoot.
Those are the buckets or the opportunities that Graves is talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Chance Gray just took 2 wide open shots. And here's a wide open shot at the other end to start the third quarter by Emma Nopu. But Chance Gray is not top 10 in program history with 50, 3-pointers and then missing both of those shots. I mean, they're just not falling. It's unlucky.
You see the sweet stroke of Brink. She continues to pile on the point. She's got 14. The Ducks need a serious run, and then they need to get after it defensively. Rogers had a good look there as the defender goes underneath the pick. Oregon keeps the ball, but right now Rogers has had one of the coldest shooting days of the season. You know, this was the kind of struggle that Rogers had in game 1 against Stanford. You know, when she just couldn't score.
And Pow down. There it is. He picks it up.
Yep.
Well, Rogers comes in at 42% from 3. She's 0 of 3, right? Pow has to get one for her. But, man, you really need to keep going. And Rogers has got to keep shooting. She's 1 of 14, but she can't stop shooting.
So Brink whistle for that foul, and it's her third. And she'll have to take a seat, and Betts will come on to the court. (42-29). Remember that triple that Pow hit to end the half, and she was getting into the face of her teammates saying, let's go, let's go. Hansen with the hesitation, mid-range, not there. Jump yanks down the rebound. Here comes Lopolo. Pow continues her hot scoring. It all started against Washington in regular season play to end the regular season. She's back to her old self. 5 on the shot clock, Lopolo. Wow, another triple for Emma Nopu. She's got 6 on back-to-back trays.
She has a quick trigger. It's a low trigger, but it's a quick trigger, and she launches 2 of those pretty quickly. Catch and shoot.
The hole continues to be deep for these Oregon Ducks. Che goes after it. Ball is loose. Hansen picks it up. Pow's going to try it again and hits. 14 now for Pow. But who's going to help her out? Jones kind of shot puts that first shot, but gets the second to go. 8 now for Jones. She averages nearly 14 a game.
Both teams even at 15 second chance points.
Hansen hesitates, steps back. Good hands by Jones. Who's got it? Lopolo. Here comes Stanford, looking to increase that lead. Jones with the good hand. Here's the double. More quick hands from behind by Rogers with the theft. Here comes India.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere.
with that. Rogers right into traffic, not a quality move. I like the dig and the steal for Oregon, but they just can't convert. You know, they're getting the stops that they want.
Things sloppy, frantic pace. Rogers, you know, she's not going to quit scoring. Finally gets the roll. India Rogers, she's got 4. When these two teams met in late January, Rogers had but 6 points, 3 for 14 from the floor. If she could catch fire and she can do that quickly, perhaps things could change for these Oregon Ducks. Into the hands of Gray. Here comes Oregon on a tear. Gray all the way to the rim and gets it down over jump.
Couple of deuces, a couple of threes by Pow Pow, and suddenly there's some momentum and some fight in the Oregon Ducks. This is what Kelly Graves told us all year. They don't quit. We fight. He likes this bunch.
Betts deep. Jay got the block. Betts with the follow.
She has had more second efforts in the month of February on those misses. Her hands are getting stronger. Positioning much improved. She's just really her growth, knowledge of the game.
7 points now for Betts. Wild shots by Gray. Remember, Brink on the bench with 3 fouls for Stanford. Jump wide open. Normally she'll make you pay when you don't close out, but we'll go the other way. Rogers taking it right at the heart of the defense and scores again and 1. India Rogers starting to feel it.
This is the run that the Ducks needed. You can't wait too long in the second half to make a run against the Stanford Cardinal. They'll put up 74 points a game, but here's a player that can give you double figures, and she's feeling it.
Blackburn, keep making those threes.
That's right, $1,500 just in this game. Each team with 5 made threes today, this quarter. A couple of them coming from that player right there, Tahina Pow Pow. Rogers has gotten hot as of late. She's got 6 total points, but 4 quick points here in the third quarter, and they needed Rogers to get hot. She might have another one here. She might pick up her 7th point. This will be the finish of a 3-point play, and she gets the goal.
49-39. 4:24 left to go. In this third quarter, the Ducks have got to be feeling better about themselves. It all started with Tahina Pow Pow's triple to end the half. And a little momentum created in the third quarter thanks to Pow Pow and Rogers. Brink on the bench, with 3 fouls.
Van Sluten back in the game, defending the paint, protecting the rim.
6 on the shot clock.
Wow, big effort.
How great has Emma Nobu been in the third quarter? She's got 8 now, some triples and then that mop-up.
Offensive board. Alyssa Charleston talked to Kelly Graves about that. Stanford has 18 now, but it's the offensive board putback that hurts.
Hosendove, instead of going to the bucket, she'll dump it out, set the pick. Rogers, oh boy, I'm telling you, she could score a ton in a hurry. 10 points now for Rogers.
The senior guard finished the regular season, scoring 2nd in the Pac-12.
Ball up for grabs into the hands of Rogers. She wants to push again. Rogers is clapping. Oregon bench is into it. 51-45. We got ourselves a game. Inside Belibi. 10 on the shot clock. Inside look. We're going to let him play. Hosendove, nothing there. Hurst returns to action. We'll bring it up.
Give it to Rogers.
Rogers wants the pick. It's the closest Oregon has been since the first quarter. Rogers rimming out. Here comes Stanford on the run. And it'll be Hurst whistle for that foul.
I sure do like the choice offensively to get some ball screen action for Rogers. This last time back down the court, Rogers steps up to the trailer and Pow Pow. And a crazy bounce off and the spin. Look at the bench going nuts.
Brink returns to the lineup with the 3 fouls along with Hannah Jump as Navarre rims out her first charity toss. This is the closest Oregon has been for a long, long time. It was 14-9. In terms of a 5-point deficit was the closest. Both free throws missed by Stanford. Here's Rogers into the grill of Navarre. And Navarre will be whistled for that foul, her second.
We saw something similar by Stanford in the first half that Oregon has right now. A 6-0 run in 1 minute, 15 seconds. A lot of points in a short amount of time, and then 5 of the last 7 makes by Oregon.
And you see Oregon getting well in a hurry when Brink had to go to the bench with those 3 fouls. Offensive rebound, Van Sluten. Hurst, rimming out. Brink with another rebound. 7 boards now for Brink. She's already in double figures in terms of scoring.
Get Chance Gray in the game. You could have Rogers, Pow, and Gray all from downtown.
Whistle away from the ball. It's going to go against Hosendub. Her first, team's third. So Pow will come out. Gray returns to the lineup for the Oregon Ducks. Pow with 17 points. 5 triples for Pow as the Ducks will take advantage of the Stanford miscue.
Tough pass. There's no angle there unless you do a wraparound pass with some spin like Cam Brown at UCLA did to Charisma Osborne in game 1 to start the day.
Rogers going against Lopolo, picks up that dribble. Here's Hurst. Now it's Van Sluten. Wants to go against Believy. Fran yanks that rebound down over Hosendub. Oregon had chances to get ever closer.
I don't think Van Sluten was very sure if she really wanted to take that shot or not.
And she'll pick up Will Van Sluten, her 4th foul. Team's 4th. Oregon with many chances, Tammy Blackburn, to crawl ever closer, but they've missed their last 3-4 shots.
Here comes Che. It has been a 2-possession game for quite some time.
Yeah.
And Stanford on that scoring drop, to your point, 2 minutes and 35 seconds, but no longer.
Drought is over, layup for Brink. 16 points now for Brink. 53-45, under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. Gray is going to dump it. Che doesn't want anything to do with mid-range. Gray. Hosendub thought she had the offensive rebound. Instead, she's going to be whistled for her 2nd foul. So momentum stalling a bit for the Oregon Ducks. 5th team foul on Oregon. So Believy will hustle to the line for free throws. Believy's first free throw attempts of the game. Makes the first one.
First point of the game.
Yep. Gets them both.
This game's so critical for Oregon in terms of the postseason with NCAA, the eye test. Looking better here in the second half for Oregon.
Ducks, though, 0 for their last 5. Hurting the comeback cause. Rogers with the pick. So Stanford will now hold it for the last shot of the 3rd.
As quickly as they went on a run, Oregon Ducks have gone cold. They are 0 of their last 6. Suddenly a 2-possession game, 6-point lead by Stanford is now 10.
7 now on the game clock. Shot clock off. Lopolo. Boy, is that a big 3 for the freshman. Oh, man. Oregon crawling ever so close. The Ducks go cold, and then Lopolo hits the big 3 to end the 3rd quarter. Man, that's a big one.
mercy on many men. Many men. Still gone. Total domination. I don't look to the sky no more. Have mercy on many men. Many men. We stay for me. Yeah, I don't cry no more. I don't look to the sky no more. Have mercy on me.
Angie's List is losing the list. From now on, it's just Angie.
So what happens to all the people that needed the list?
Oh yeah, everything still works. We just made it better. We even let you book services instantly now. Start your home project at Angie.com.
Oh, what a good time we will have. You can make it happen.
Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Attention gate members. Your connecting flight will arrive eventually.
Have you been the victim of gate seat theft? If so, you may be entitled to a settlement.
Here at the law offices of Butsky and Bupkis, we've helped thousands collect damages for seat thefts.
We also represent wall theft, patches of floor theft, bathroom stall theft. If you sat on it and got up and someone else sat on it, we'll represent you.
Let us help you sue the pants off the butt that stole your seat.
The law offices of Butsky and Bupkis, not necessary for those who live the nonstop life.
We're marching through quarterfinal action at the Pac-12 Women's Basketball Tournament in Las Vegas.
Here is a player that can give you the points that you need.
Jones, footwork, scores. Gray all the way to the rim, blocked inside. Oh, what a swat by Jones. Off the pick, Pow will pull the trigger. Big triple for Tahina.
There's some momentum and some fight in the Oregon Ducks.
Well, Oregon sure made a push in that third quarter, Tammy, cutting that deficit to just 6, but then they go cold. Stanford makes them pay, and it's another double-figure lead for the Cardinal.
Yeah, so many players and so much balance, and you saw a game change a little bit when Cameron Brink checked back in. Starts with the defense for that team, and then transition. They want to run. Lapolo hit a 3.
When Brink picked up that third foul and had to sit, Oregon made a serious push. Brink back on the floor now, fourth quarter underway. Rogers got hot in that third quarter, scoring 8 points. Floater gets the roll.
Gosh, Rogers is so good in this senior year. Finished the regular season second in the Pac-12, 18 points per game in league action. Stepped up.
12 points now for Rogers. He's got 3 30-point games as Believy scores inside. 3 30-point games.
Missed assignment there by Oregon, and that's an easy layup for Believy in the card.
Stanford taking advantage of that, and Oregon can ill afford missed assignments defensively. Pow with 17, Rogers with 12. Not a lot of help other than that. Rogers, another floater. Shea battling with Brink, possession arrow favoring Stanford. Kelly Rogers talks about the smaller guards that have to go through so many tough picks and fight through so many screens and just come off of them to get scoring looks. It's tough on those smaller bodies.
I asked him that very question earlier this week. I said, I know you get caught up on screens, you get hit, and then you get stalled, and that's how good shooters get open. We have great offensive players that know how to make reads, and he said, yeah, we're small. We get slowed down, and when you don't have that length, that's what creates shots for your opponent.
Jump, hesitating. And here's Jones with 8 on the shot clock. She wants some help. Lapolo. Jones wants it back. Takes the pick from Brink. Defender goes underneath. Jones can't make a pay, and here comes Rogers. Rogers playing a ton of minutes the first 2 games of this tournament. We're in quarterfinal action between these two clubs.
Gray, nice hesitation. Rogers, NBA three. Rimming off. Brink with another rebound. She's got 9 boards now. 1 carom shy of another double-double. Brink wanted it inside. Believe he didn't like the angle. Here's LaPolo. Three-pointer is off. Shea can't get a handle on it. So the ball belongs to Oregon as Hansen and Van Sluten will check in for the Ducks. Right now, Cameron Brink has yet to block a shot. She has at least 1 block in every game except 1 coming into the tournament. But how great has she been in every other aspect? Van Sluten, nothing there. Levy loses the eyewear. She'll slip it back on, and Jones will wait for her buddy to get into the half-court set. LaPolo back rimming off. Van Sluten is going to lead the charge, and now she'll think twice and find Pau Pau. With another triple. 20 points now for Tahina Pau Pau. Her 4th 20-point game in the last 5 contests. She is back.
6 of 8 from three-point downtown. Pau Pau trying to keep it close with the Stanford Cardinal. Traded it, and they're down by 10.
Great look at the Hoover Dam. Stanford leading Oregon. 6:52 left to go in the 4th quarter. Stanford has led from the beginning. It's 60-50. Plenty of time for the Ducks.
There is plenty of time, indeed. Every possession is going to matter for them. A defensive stop here. And then go down and score.
Hansen back on the floor for Oregon.
Gonna go with their hot shooters and Rogers and Pau Pau.
Nobody else hot for the Oregon Ducks. Wow, unfortunate. Van Sluten slips, and Brink gets another layup. She's got 18.
Puts her tied for 32nd in all-time chart for Stanford career scoring. Remember, coming into this game at 35, continues to rise.
Brink with the block. I think she gets credit for that block. So now a block in every single game this season but 1. Van Sluten does a nice job holding her ground, picks up the rebound, and here comes Pau Pau. 62-50, under 6 to go.
Yeah, you see the difference when Van Sluten can actually stay behind her, doesn't fall down. You see what she can do with her length and defend, make it tough for Brink.
Hansen continues to struggle from the floor. Doesn't get a lot of shots today, has yet to find the bottom of the net. Beliebe. Van Sluten's got her. Remember, she's got 4 fouls. Beliebe gets it up and over Grace.
Reverse pivot their move, and that reverse pivot allowed Beliebe to square and just make a quick read, and she saw that Van Sluten, with those 4 fouls, was going to go straight up, so Beliebe just muscles her way. That's a smart move.
So Rogers finally returning to the lineup now on the foul.
Saw the square up there, and then she just tries to back Van Sluten down a little bit, knowing that Van Sluten had those 4 fouls.
Official score is going to take that block away from Brink and just call it an air ball. So Cameron's still looking for her first rejection of the game as Rogers checks back into the lineup. Pau Pau short on that 3. Ball up for grabs into the hands of LaPolo.
Under 5 minutes now, and Stanford's so good with clock management, right? 10 points away from their season average at 74 points for the Cardinal.
Brink finds the cutting Beliebe. Ducks want to travel. Instead, a foul is going to go against the Oregon Ducks. We'll get it all straightened out. Back right after this, Stanford leading. Jockey difference maker, Cameron Brink.
18 points and 9 boards, 1 board away from yet another double-double. She is 8 of 10, that's 80%. Her career field goal percentage coming into today at 54%. How about them numbers?
Remember in game 1, Brink had that triple-double with the 10 blocks. You know, you look at Brink, you know, her first Stanford camp was when she was 13 years old. She played with and against Haley Jones in travel ball. Comes to camp at 13, receives her official offer from Stanford and Tara at the age of 15. I mean, it was just kind of meant to be. She was going to be a Cardinal.
And speaking of Jones and Brink, the two-headed monster, Stanford the only team in the country to return a pair of WBCA All-Americans. Brink and Jones.
And Brink with the rebound. Cardinal sin for the Oregon Ducks. 30th career double-double now for Brink as she does it again today. Into the hands of Pow Pow. Van Sluten thinks twice about going up against Brink instead. Three-pointer is true for Gray.
Big shot, Chance Gray continuing to make that long-range shot. She's been big in so many games.
Oregon will trade 3s for 2s. They've got to down the stretch, but they need some stops. Clock management, you mentioned it, Tammy Blackburn. Haley Jones kind of shot puts that one and done. And here comes Pow Pow. She and Rogers leading the comeback scoring-wise for the Oregon Ducks. Gray helping out a little bit, too.
Jones has missed quite a few of those shots just right inside, about 12 feet, 11 feet.
Van Sluten. Ball stays with Oregon. Nice hustle play by Grace Van Sluten. 64-53. Here's Gray. Trying to keep the Duck hopes alive. Gray again. Believe good positioning for the rebound.
Ooh. But I like that play call by Oregon. I think you go right back to her. They did in the corner. She had the look. I like the confidence that Chance Gray, as a freshman, brings to the floor. Not afraid of this Stanford Cardinal team. Knows that she needs to step up and score.
What a job by Believe off the bench with the 6 points and the 8 rebounds. Make it 9 rebounds. Man, that's how you get playing time. Working your tail off.
Well, you know, Haley Jones, obviously being Haley Jones, 8 points, 3 of 15. She's got 11 boards, not making a shot, but she's still doing the other work that matters, double-digit rebounding.
Great job by Basham, who checks in and tag teams that play against Brink. Coming up after this game, we'll send it to Ashley, Elise, and Angela for our Paycor post-game report. Lopolo flips it to Brink. Jab step and hits.
Nowhere to go for Lopolo except in the hands of Brink.
Another 20-point game for Brink. She's got 7 of them this season. Again, Stanford fans disappointed that she wasn't named Player of the Year as Pow Pow drains the triple. She now ties her career high with her 7th three-pointer of the season, of the game, excuse me. Pow Pow. What a resurgence for Tahina. Whistle away from the ball. And we'll call a timeout, will the Stanford Cardinal.
Kelly Graves talking to us about the importance of making threes on this team. And we talked about that resurgence that you say, and with Pow Pow getting hot and what it does for this team, saying it was so critical for us, especially down the stretch of February, knowing the competition in March here in Vegas. And here are the Pac-12 net rankings. Stanford went from a 3 to a 4. Utah holding firm at 7. Oregon from 18 to 19. Colorado at 21. We'll see them later tonight. UCLA 25. Arizona 26.
Alyssa, some thoughts on the net rankings?
Well, Oregon really really wants to keep this close. And you talked about it earlier in the game, something that affected the Oregon's chances and to improve their resume today. Syracuse, who was also on the bubble, lost by 25 to NC State. That was someone they were kind of competing with, so kind of opens things up a little bit for Oregon. If they can keep this close, it helps them.
That's great stuff, Alyssa. And a stronger second half by the Ducks as Beliebe hits. Still a 12-point lead for Stanford, but a better second half for the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, I talked about the eye test in the first half of Oregon State. Remember, it's not just about net ranking. There's multiple other variables that go in to the selection. The eye test, one of them, how you finish down the stretch. Certainly the wins by Oregon, that win over Arizona, and Arizona State coming into Las Vegas, the win yesterday. Playing a team in Stanford Cardinal that has a net 4, the number 1 seed.
Brink going up against Basham. Great block inside. Basham holds her ground. Here comes Rogers. She's got Gray. Rogers all the way to the cup. Rogers hits the deck. She'll go to the line.
Creating the transition offense with this defense. Basham over the top of Brink. Gets the piece of it. No whistle, no foul called on Basham. She goes back out, but Rogers down at the other end, and a chance to cut it to 8.
Basham, effective blocking and altering shots, will sit down Hurst back on the floor. Rogers, who has got to be gassed, played the 36 minutes just yesterday in that hard-fought, come-from-behind victory for Oregon. 15 now for Rogers after a ice-cold first half. Rogers had but 2 points at halftime. And Stanford looking really good now. Jones with that last rebound goes to 10th all-time in Stanford career history, tying assistant coach Katie Stedding.
Deep touch, and another bucket for Brink.
So it'll be Stanford taking on UCLA in the semifinals. Brink got conked in the noggin, and Brink is called for her fourth foul.
Deep touch, that deep catch that we talked about, turns around. Ben Slutin doing everything she can with 4 fouls, but Cameron Brink just too good, too skilled, too experienced.
So, Tammy Blackburn, if you're on the committee, is Oregon in your estimation?
Well, they came back and played a great second half here against the number 1 seed in the Stanford Cardinal, holding firm at net 19 ranking. Certainly going to need some help depending on what happens around the United States. A lot is going to play out. Multiple factors will go into the decision. But they came into this tournament on the outside of that bubble, and they needed it yesterday. They took care of it.
Well, Stanford is going to advance. Remember, they're the defending champs, are the Cardinal. And they're on a collision course. They'll meet UCLA in the semis. It should be something. Tip of the cap to Tahina Paopao, who has been remarkable over the last 4 games.
Her shot selection has been good. She's just been making shots. Kelly Grace, when asked, did she do anything different? He says, no, she's just feeling it. She's a player that has had the weight of the world on her. Just playing loose and playing free has made all the difference in the world for Paopao. 4 great games of 20-plus points or more, and it was Rogers yesterday with 28 points, and she came alive in today's game. Rogers with 15. 35 minutes of action. Paopao and Rogers combined for 38.
Paopao tying a career high with those 7 triples. All of her buckets today, Tahina's, come from beyond the arc. So it's going to be really interesting. And man, the Oregon Ducks will go back to Eugene and check out a lot of scores, as you mentioned, Tammy, from tournaments all around the country that net ranking certainly helps the cause. Right now it's at 19. It's been high all year, even when the Ducks were in that 7-game losing slide.
And you saw the tournament resume right there in the graphic for Oregon. It's also how you finish the regular season. They beat Arizona. They beat Arizona State University. They come into the tournament. They hit game 1. That's a good way to finish. And then you lose to a good team in the Stanford Cardinal.
Really good team.
Yeah, really good team. Number 1 seed, Pac-12 regular season co-champs. A net ranking of 4 are the Card.
Pow Pow with her first, only the team's second. There's less than 46 seconds left in this thing. It's a 10-point game. Again, UCLA awaits for Stanford. Earlier today, UCLA impressively defeating Arizona. As Gray picks up the foul. In game 1 between these two clubs, Kelly Graves said 20 for 80 against Stanford. I've never seen anything like it. Right now,
19 of 65
are the Ducks.
29% overall.
You had Rogers and Pow Pow doing their thing, but didn't get a whole lot of help from their teammates. Gray, actually, I'll take that back. Gray chipping in, not much inside. So you'll keep fouling if you're the Ducks. If you can't steal, you got to at least put them on the line and hope they miss a free throw or two. Jones to inbound, 44.1 left. Ducks sitting on 14 fouls. Our evening session should be fun. Washington State versus Utah, and then Oregon State taking on Colorado. Can the Beavers pull off another upset?
Big win for Oregon State University last night in the evening game over USC. Had the whole team over at the desk with the Cows. Visiting Reagan Beers sat down, took the microphone. Your freshman and 6th player of the year, Reagan Beers.
Rogers with her 4th foul.
We had a chance as we were coming in this morning to set up for our 2 games to see Colorado, visit with J.R. Payne just a little bit. What a season it has been for Colorado and that club. Great job by J.R. Payne.
Oh, what a season for them. That 3rd seed, well deserved, as Polibi, Agnes Emma Nopu checking in for Stanford.
And a Colorado team that almost got this number 1 seed Stanford not too long ago. A double overtime loss on Colorado's home floor.
That was a crazy weekend for Stanford. They outlast Colorado barely, have all kinds of travel issues getting to Salt Lake City, and then the Utes get them. So timeout Oregon, 43.8 left. Ducks hoping for a miracle. What'd you like about Stanford tonight? As we mentioned, coming up next, Washington State, Utah.
Charlize Ledger-Walker, I tell you, I had a chance to cover Washington State the final weekend at the LA schools, and what a treat it was. And you remember that she had to go to visit with her grandma on one trip, and then shortly thereafter flew back to New Zealand round trip for her grandmother's funeral. 2 quick round trips for that player. She did not get to play against the LA schools. She did not get a chance to play against the Mountain schools first time. And those were 4 games where it could have been very different for Washington State, because without your captain, imagine you take your floor leader off the floor in a player like Ledger-Walker. That's a tough, tough loss. So a lot to play for Ledger-Walker.
It's going to be a good one as Emma Nopu picks up her 3rd foul. Pow Pow to the line. Dimitri back onto the floor. Jump as well for Stanford. The last minute taken about 10 minutes. Jones back onto the floor. And Hurst for Oregon. There have been some great rebounders in the history of Stanford women's basketball, and Haley Jones will go down as one of them today. She ties the great Katie Stedding for 10th on all-time career caroms.
Katie Stedding, who sits on the bench with the coaching staff, assistant coach, Stanford Cardinal.
Pow Pow. A new career high for Pow Pow. Wow. What a gutty, gritty performance by Tahina Pow Pow. 25 points. All of her buckets coming from beyond the arc, plus free throws.
So she's really digging deep. Really has dug deep. And
give her 26, though. That's 26, and that'll add to the career high. And you know, she and Rogers playing so many minutes and asked to do so much. Basham back on the floor for the Oregon Ducks. Jump hurting Oregon with those triples now with a couple of tosses.
Jump made some shots early on in the game, and they were feeding her in that first quarter. She hit a three, then hit a deuce, then hit another three.
74-63, Duck timeout, 36.1 left to go in this game.
I think what you know and what you see is that it's going to take everybody, including a deep bench, as deep as you can go in your bench, whatever that bench looks like, to be able to play in Championship Sunday on ESPN2 for a chance at the title, the Pac-12 Women's Basketball Tournament.
Hannah Jump, who's meant so much to this team on the floor, also getting it done in the classroom.
Congratulations to Jump, the Pac-12 Scholar Athlete of the Year, named just a few days ago. Major in psychology, 3.75. That two-time Pac-12 Academic Honor Roll recipient, and just the 7th player to win the award at Stanford.
Just some great individual efforts today. Stanford and, of course, Brink and Jones and Jump leading the way. You really got to tip your cap to Believy off the bench. And then, of course, it's Tahina Pow Pow, a career high 26 points and tying a career high with 7 triples for Oregon.
Lauren Betts gave good minutes as well. She had 7 points.
My goodness, a deuce? Oh, Tahina. That's your first deuce of the game. Everything else has been from the free throw line or beyond the arc.
Give me a 3-piece for Pow Pow. This is her first 2-piece. 28 now, Tahina. Just inside, though, towed the line.
So, more fouls for the Oregon Ducks to put Stanford on the line.
The calm, cool, collected freshman of Lopolo steps up. Makes it a 4-possession game.
Well, we play out this game, and it's going to take a while. Alyssa, what do you have on the Cardinal?
As Oregon goes for another 3 here, Stanford has really talked about being gritty this year. We haven't seen them have those huge margins of victory. Tara has mentioned it. The players have mentioned it. It's going to be really interesting to see how this Pac-12 tournament plays out, as they have 3 losses this year in Pac-12 play. We're not used to that either.
Thank you, Alyssa. Another great job today. Okay, 12.5. Rogers not there. And that'll do it. Crowd will let you know wearing Stanford gear. Tara and Kelly shaking hands. 76-65. Stanford a winner. They led basically, Tammy, from the get-go, and the brackets now looking like this.
Matchup coming as the 5th seed UCLA Bruins will take on the number 1 seed Stanford tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the semifinals. We'll see what happens later tonight in the 2 quarterfinal matchups. Those are going to be exciting. Congratulations to the Stanford Cardinal. I will be eager to know the NCAA selection committee on how they fare and how they see this Oregon Duck squad.
All right, that's going to do it. Stanford defeating Oregon 76-65. The Cardinal advancing to the semifinals, where they'll face UCLA. For Tammy, Alyssa, our wonderful broadcast crew, I'm Ann saying thanks for watching Pac-12 quarterfinal action with us now. We're going to send it across the court for a deep dive. Ashley, Elise, and Angela all ready for the Paycor post-game report.
And shots, terrific job. You and Tammy Blackburn were fabulous as always in Las Vegas. Another great game. Angela Taylor, Elise Woodward here with you as we get set for the night session. Tara Vanderveer now 54-6. All-time in the Pac-12 tournament. At some point, they're going to have to rename this thing for her, Angela.
The annual tournament. But this is what Stanford lives for. You know, all season long, they try to prepare. They have a tough non-conference schedule. They go through conference play, and now is when they want to be playing at their best. Today was a pretty good performance for the Stanford team, both defensively and offensively, crashing the boards. They dominated on the boards, both offensively and defensively, and points in the paint was the big difference in this game.
56-39 on the glass, and this is why Stanford is so good. They don't put 100 points on the board, but they don't let you ever feel comfortable. They make you take uncomfortable shots, awkward shots. Oregon was held in the first half to a really poor shooting percentage. It was 15% in the first quarter. But they got hot in the second half, which is good for Oregon and their postseason resume. But Stanford's defense, their length, their athleticism, their smarts is really tough to deal with.
Here's the thing, though, we got to mention, too, for Oregon fans, don't change the channel, because guess what? You still potentially have some more to play for. So we're going to talk about, you just spoke with Charlie Cream? Just texted him?
Yes. You want me to say what he said?
Yeah,
so
what
the
did he say?
He said, go ahead and put Oregon in the field, knocking out Syracuse. Syracuse got drilled today by NC State. They were the last team in. So, yeah, Oregon showed up well today.
You know who else showed up well today and showed up well to the set? That was really the best joining of the set that we've had. I mean,
it was quick, it was skillful, that was awesome, ladies.
Eloquent.
You guys have been here before.
Cameron Brink and Fran believe you have been here before. Oh, terrific job, ladies. And this was a hard-fought battle. I mean, we could tell from sitting right here how much you guys... Cam Brink, your 14th double-double of the year, 22 and 11. Let's start with you. What was it like playing out there? You were dealing with some foul trouble. It was physical. You knew Oregon wasn't going to lay down in the second half when you guys went up big.
Yeah, I just think it was actually a really fun game. I think we were really calm. We were really collected as a team. And, you know, they're really great perimeter shooters. So our guards did a great job. The band is so loud. Oh, my God. Our guards did a really good job of, you know, taking away their threes and everything like that. So it was a fun game.
For you guys, I know losing the last game of the regular season and some of the travel issues, you had that target on your back all season long. How much is this like a fresh start for you guys to come out? You guys played really well today, but it's a new season and you guys have been there, done that before, winning the title 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Tara kind of always tells us that every team is going to bring their absolute A game. And after the loss to Utah, Tara kind of was talking to us in the locker room, and she was saying that we were watching The Woman King, and she said it's better to be the hunter than the hunted. And so I think we kind of came out with that mentality to this game, just to play loose, but knowing that we want to be the hunters out there, and that's kind of how we went out there and played.
Well, talking about hunting, Cam Brink, congratulations on being Defensive Player of the Year in the Pac-12 Conference, dominating the paint. Like, right, we talk about all the time, as guards, we would not want to try to attack the paint with you controlling the paint. But you also were in the running for Player of the Year in the conference. Sure, it was disappointing for you, but what are your thoughts on your performance this season and your chance to be named Player of the Year in the conference?
Yeah, well, obviously, Defensive Player of the Year is a huge honor, and, you know, I don't take that lightly. I feel very blessed and really honored. You know, I think Alyssa Peely is very deserving of the title. You know, she's so great, and she's really good. You know, we don't like to play against her, so yeah, I mean, just kudos to Utah. I mean, they're a great team, and, you know, I think she's really deserving. So I think it's just an honor to even be considered. So.
Fran, I got to ask you, if you were pretty much playing for any other team in the country, you'd be starting, you'd be getting a ton of minutes, and you'd be one of the stars. You have such a role, and you've embraced that role, and it's been really cool to see how so many players, and there's so many studs on your guys' roster because you see so many play. So for you, as you come into this tournament and you think about your final postseason with Stanford, what is it that you want to prove, or what is it when you look back at your Stanford career that you want to go out and just feel like you left everything on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I play for Stanford. That means every day we have everyone coming at us, but every day that means we're putting forward a team that can win a national championship. And at the end of the day, you know, that's what we all play for. And so for me, it's just kind of about supporting my teammates. And just being out there and being the best player that I can be in whatever moment I'm asked to be there. It's about being the best teammate, the best leader, and the best person I can be. So when I think back on my 4 years here, I've had some great leaders, some great senior captains who kind of showed me the way and showed me how to do that. And so as I'm getting here to the end, I'm just trying to kind of embrace the moment, take everything in, and make sure we win.
I know y'all are part of the Funky Four, the seniors, but the front court for you guys is the best in the nation, the combination, the depth, and as you mentioned, you know, coming off the bench for this team, what's your guys' camaraderie like in practice and everything? Because you guys are going after each other in practice and then supporting each other in the games. How does that work?
Yeah, you know, practice is really, really hard. You know, I think we really go at each other, but that's what makes us so good. And, you know, I think it's been really tough for Lauren Betts because, you know, I don't think she's ever played against, you know, people so consistently big every single day. But we're just so proud. She's like our child. We are so proud of the growth.
The 6'7" little baby.
But like the growth she has made as a person and a player, we are so proud of. And she's just unstoppable. When she puts her mind to something, she will get it done. So we're really proud that she's, you know, what she's accomplished so far, and that she's on our team. Honestly, we wouldn't want to play against her. So
It's been cool. We saw you rocking the gritty in the pregame with the band. And my question is, are you guys planning to teach Tara how to gritty?
Yeah.
Yes. It was the electric slide a couple years ago now.
We're turning it up. We taught her a dance last year, so I'm sure Haley has something in the bag.
Yeah, that's Haley's job.
All right. If you guys can get Tara Vanderveer to do the gritty, I just think I'm going to go ahead and crown you national champion. So, all right.
That's the crown.
Terrific job. There it is. What can't she do? Cam Brink, Fran Believe. I was going to tell you guys, you're getting the quick school in broadcasting too, because I know you're hearing the producer in your ear. You handled that perfectly, Fran. I just want to say, like a pro. Yeah, it's all good. And the band stopped for you guys. So go celebrate with your team in the locker room.
Great job.
UCLA tomorrow.
Go Card.
Congratulations, Fran Believe and Cameron Brink. The gritty. Tara Vanderveer. I cannot wait to see it. We got a great show coming your way. Post-game report presented by Paycor's on deck. Well, we've got one semifinal matchup set here at the Pac-12 Women's Basketball Tournament in Las Vegas. Cam Brink and Stanford take care of Oregon in the second quarterfinal round. They advance to take on UCLA as we welcome you to the post-game report presented by Paycor. It's nice and quiet right now. Angela Taylor.
Isn't it wonderful?
Elise Woodward, Ashley Adamson. I feel like I could just,
You're putting on your golf voice all of a sudden. The band's not here.
I only have a golf voice.
Welcome in.
Yeah,
okay.
Welcome in. There was nothing golf-like about the matchup that we just saw. This was a gritty, physical game. I love that Cam Brink said it was fun to play in. We felt like we had energy. We felt like we had focus.
It's
Kelly Graves and Tara Vanderveer, two of the best in the business. Hannah Jump. The shots weren't falling really for anybody in the early going, but Hannah Jump had 11 points in the first half.
I love the bank shot for one of the best pure shooters in the nation.
I heard her call it from over here. Cameron Brink.
I love when she faces up. Yeah, she has that ability, and would love to see her do that more.
She can do that. She can do this.
Oh, you guys, she had 22 minutes today and 26 points, 4 fouls, a couple of them, let's just say I did not agree with, but she was whistled for them. I don't think she agreed with them either, but boy, she played really well at 10 of 15.
I know we can all agree that Tahina Pau played with her hair on fire. She was fantastic in this game. 7 made threes. It ties her career high, and she finishes with a career high 28 points.
I just love it for her. This is the 4th time in the last 5 games Tahina Pau went over 20. She's been on a tear, and it will help Oregon get into the NCAA tournament.
And we'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. But Cameron Brink finishing at the rim there, her 14th double-double, despite, as you mentioned, dealing with some foul trouble and playing limited minutes for her. 22 and 11 efficient efficient, 10 of 15 from the floor. Haley Jones didn't have a great shooting night, but she was flirting with the triple-double. All of a sudden you look up and realize she's a couple of points and a couple assists away from a triple-double. Alyssa Charleston caught up with the GOAT, the Hall of Fame head coach, after the win.
Coach, you've mentioned gritty wins. You want this team to be gritty all year. You led the rebounding battle the whole way and withstood quite an Oregon comeback. What are you most proud of your team for today?
You know, I think people just stayed right in there. I thought Fran Belebe really helped us a lot. A lot of different people contributed. You know, I just want to give a shout out to Oregon. Pow Pow, Rogers, they're really tough guards. And I know they've had a couple injuries, but they've had they've been gritty the whole season. They gave us a heck of a game. Looking forward, I think we can play better. We got to keep rebounding like that. I think we can shoot the ball better. I thought Talana Lopolo really led the way for us. Her defense, her shooting, Cam obviously inside, but different people stepped up. So we're excited to be playing in the semifinals, and we know we need to play really well.
And guard defense, you talked about it.
Yeah, Talana plays great defense. Indian Navarre came in and played great defense for us. Agnes, I don't like that foul at the end, but Agnes Emanopu, a lot of different people. We went to the bench and people responded, and Lauren Betts came in and did a great job. So hopefully people will be ready for tomorrow.
All right, well, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, so there you have it. And I feel like Tara Vanderveer is very good about giving a lot of different players credit. She gave Oregon credit for the way that they came out and played. But Talana Lopolo was one that she called out specifically, and she did have a terrific game.
Yeah, she had 10 points and she had 5 assists. And for the freshman who's getting so much time at that point guard spot, it's a huge spot for Stanford in this postseason. She's been in double figures 4 times this season, but 2 of the last 4. And I love the fact that she is taking the shot when it's given to her. She is a really good three-point shooter, 40% this season. So let it fly. You're going to get some looks.
Let it fly. And one of Stanford's competitive advantages is their depth. They played 12 players in the game today. Tara went to their deep roster after they lost to USC for the first time, and she's found a lot of gems on that roster, whether it's Lauren Betts coming in off the bench and giving them a solid post presence, whether it's Emma Nopu, who has done a great job in the starting lineup, spreading the floor, being another three-point shooter on the floor, along with Hannah Jump, and a great defender and rebounder as well. So their depth is something that is going to carry them on in this tournament. When you're playing every day in the Pac-12 tournament as well as an NCAA tournament, depth will matter.
Did you guys sense from Stanford they came out and they just know how to win this tournament?
Yeah.
And they know you push reset. And didn't you just get the sense that they're like, it's time, it's go time? Like they've taken everybody's biggest punch, and they still were the regular season Pac-12 champs, and now you just get that feeling they're ready to bring it.
And I couldn't agree more, and I think you brought it up with Cam Brink on set. Yeah, she's happy to win and honored to win Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, but she knew where you were going with that question of, do you think that maybe you could have gotten her? Did it bug you that you didn't get Player of the Year? And she was perfectly trained by Wilder, by the way, to answer that question and say it was all credit to Alyssa Peely, who was very deserving.
You can tell she really respects Alyssa Peely.
You can tell she really respects her, and that's real. We don't like playing against her, but I will say, for Cam Brink, the fire that she plays with, it is fun to watch. And when you see it on TV, it's one thing. When you see it in person, it's like she's going to take your lunch money.
It's my favorite trait about Cameron Brink, in that so often bigs play basketball because they're tall. That's not Cameron Brink. She plays it because she's got a passion for this game, and she's so competitive. She burns to win. She hates to lose. She will go right after you. She is intimidating. She's got that look that guards don't want to go and see her in the paint because, 1, she'll block their shot, but 2, I mean, she will do anything to win, and I love it. It's going to take her a long ways in this game.
Well, it's going to take the Stanford team a long ways. Yep. They need somebody with that competitive fire. Last year it was the Hull sisters, and they missed their energy on both ends of the floor. Cameron Brink, you don't expect that to come from the Cameron Brink package, but when she's out of the game today, when she went out in the third quarter with 8:10 left in that third quarter, the complete dynamic changed, and Oregon got back into the game. When she came back on the floor, Tara put it back in with 3 fouls, and Stanford then extended their lead once again. She brings an energy on both ends of the floor, and again, she's one of the elite players in this country, and Stanford will go as Cameron Brink goes.
Right, and I think a big thing is that foul trouble, because Cameron Brink, I've said it before, she's like a home run hitter with her shot blocking. Home run hitters stand up to the plate, and that first swing, until they get a strike called against them, they're swinging for the fences, and she is going to block every shot until she starts getting in foul trouble. The problem is you don't want her in foul trouble because then her game changes. She can't be that. And she'll get called for offensive fouls as well. So she's got to be really careful walking that line because she's so valuable when she's on the floor.
And to that point exactly, this is the second game this season that she did not have a block. She didn't have one against Washington. She didn't have one today. But Angela Taylor, Elise Woodward, Ashley Adamson back with you. Stanford is moving on. Our TaxAct performance update. Cameron Brink, a terrific performance from the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. 22 and 11, her 14th double-double of the season. That's the most she's ever had in a season in her career. So they are moving on, and they get UCLA in the first semifinal matchup tomorrow. Stanford is 11-1 all-time against the Bruins in this tournament. We'll talk more about that matchup in just a little bit. But Oregon falling just short, and credit to, from what it sounded like, there was some halftime conversations going on in that locker room, and Kelly Graves and the coaches and the players all challenging each other. Just said, are you going to come out and fight? Do you want this? Come out and play with some pride. And they came out in the second half. Tahina Paopao in particular, we talked about how terrific she is, and ultimately they ran into a Stanford team that will contend for a national championship. You talked to Charlie Cream. We mentioned it right when the show ended, but for Oregon Duck fans who missed it, what did he say?
Well, entering this tournament, Oregon was right there as the first team out. Well, Charlie Cream, the bracketologist, said put them into the field. The win over Washington and the good performance here today in the loss to what will be a number 1 seed Stanford Cardinal team is enough, because Syracuse got drilled by NC State, who was the last team in. So, there's some other things to look at, but for Oregon, I think we saw Kelly Graves a couple of years ago when he was building the roster with Sabrina Ionescu. They got hot at the right time. They were a double-digit seed that made a run all the way to the Elite Eight. This Oregon team has the talent when they're healthy, and they've had different issues throughout the season. Certainly their 2 freshmen, Grace Van Slooten and Chance Gray, have to be healthy, but they're going to have a break now after the loss here today against Stanford to get right. They both played in this tournament, not at their highest level that we've seen them throughout the year, but this is a team that I think has enough talent. The way Tahina Paopau's playing, and you combine that with India Rogers, they could take this a long ways and get hot and make a run to what we've seen to the Elite Eight and some of these things. That's 3 wins in a row for this squad, and they've been hot late.
Yeah, when you take a look at Oregon, their last 3 games of the regular season, 3 wins. Their performance here in the tournament, winning yesterday and a close loss against Stanford today. They're showing a lot of character right now. And when you get into the tournament, I am a huge proponent of guard play in the tournament. When you have elite guards, anything can happen in the tournament, particularly for teams that have not seen you before. They don't know the scouting report on you. In the Pac-12, you see each other 2 or 3 times in the season. Paopao being able to score 28 points. Chance Gray can put up 20 in any game. And then you certainly have India Rogers and her ability to attack from all 3 levels of the floor. They're a really dangerous team, and it feels like they're playing with much more confidence now than when they were on that 7-game losing streak.
Yeah, and they had some really close, tough losses in that losing streak. But their net ranking is 19 today. 19. And with all these other things, availability of talent, competitive in losses, all of these things are one of the 14 components that the committee is looking at. And there's so many of them for the Ducks. You say check, check, check. Offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, check, check, check. But, ultimately, it's some of the other teams, how they're going to do. But I think they're in. I think they're going to be in the tournament, and I think that the Pac-12 is going to have a record. All-time, 8 teams make the field.
Let's do it. And to your point, as long as the NCAA tournament has been played, veteran guard play has been maybe the biggest key in teams being able to make a deep run in the Big Dance.